crisis for the geek kind. Top geek officials admit they underestimated the hipsters' defense capability. Join the geek revolution and save the galaxy. Geeks from all over the globe are joining up to fight for the future. They're doing their part. Are you? Want to know more? Join We Be Geeks and the Geek Revolution and save the world. Service guarantees citizenship. Listen to We Be Geeks podcast on iTunes and Stitcher or online at WeBeGeeks.net. We Be Geeks, your voice for the Geek Revolution. Want to know more?
This is Ross Marquand, Aaron from The Walking Dead, and you're listening to the 365Flicks podcast.
Geek Speak, the definitive 365 cut. These are the meaningless ramblings of a Scottish redone whore and a pissy ex-video store clerk. Their ongoing mission is to set right the movie wrongs. They're gonna need a bigger podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 35, same age as me, of the 365Flicks podcast.
Yeah, like same age as you, like minus 10.
You started with me already.
Because you're like 45.
We're about 30 seconds in.
We are 30 seconds in. Crack on.
So this is episode 35 of the 365Flicks podcast. Hello, how are you? It's a bit of a weird night tonight.
It is. It's a special night because I get to retain the championship.
Well, we'll see. It's WrestleMania season, so we are about... we're 2 hours away from the start of WrestleMania. Kevin and I are watching it live tonight. Coming up on this episode, you're going to be hearing our predictions.
This will be quite a nifty episode.
When I win,
we're kind of going guerrilla on this episode. It feels like the Bourne Identity, like all handicam and stuff.
We're going to say handicapped.
Handicapped? No, never that.
Well, you're going to have to forgive us tonight because we are both suffering from Hayes' Walker AIDS.
Yeah, we do have Walker AIDS.
We've both been kind of coughy and spluttery and
yeah. If you hear me coughing, I do have the Walker AIDS.
Yeah,
and that's why my throat's kind of dying. But I am a professional.
We'll keep going. We'll keep going. We did kind of. It was my fault. I was half dead on Tuesday. So. We didn't do our usual Talking Heads episode on Tuesday because, I was just bust. So,
but we do have the big finale, which is, how we're going to do this tonight is going to be unbelievable because we're going to be sitting watching WrestleMania, probably doing like tweets to Brigger and all that, and I know somebody is going to spoil the ending to Walking Dead in America. Somebody's going to put it on the Twitters, and if I see it, I'll lose my shit. I will lose my shit.
Are people that arsey? Surely not.
People are like that. People will go to Twitter, because it's on in America tonight, isn't it? We get it tomorrow night. Mm-hmm. And then people will go on and they'll be like, oh, by the way, blah, 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 blah. And it'll be like, oh. So yeah, I might end up like deleting the Facebook and the Twitter account.
Oh, dear.
Just for tonight.
You could just go dark. Just go Jack Bauer and go dark.
I might just do that instead.
Yeah, it'll be fine, man. It'll be fine. So right now, as I said, we're about 2 hours away from the start of WrestleMania. So right now, we're just going to do a little bit of news. I've not got a great deal. A little bit of news, and then we're going to talk about the big elephant in the room, which is Batman versus Superman.
Oh yes, the huge elephant, the huge polarizing elephant in the room. I mean, this movie's getting so much hate. It's not getting a lot of love. And so we wanted to we didn't want to do it last week. We didn't want to jump straight in when people hadn't seen it yet. So we want to give people a chance. They've had a week to see it now. So we will give you our point of view on the movie later on.
Yes, we will.
And we'll probably end up addressing some of that hate.
Yes, we fucking will.
Yep.
And then we're going to do our predictions for the upcoming matches tonight on WrestleMania. And the winner of this is going to be the new... Or retaining.
The Kevin of this is going to be retaining.
Well, we'll see.
There is only one winner, and 'tis me.
No.
Yep.
No.
34 days I have been the 365Flicks champion.
You're liking that, aren't you? You're liking that
I'm
phrase.
loving it.
Yeah.
34 days, that sounds like a lot. Like it's not like...
It's a month, isn't it? You've been champion for a month.
When you say a month, it sounds like 1 month. But when you say 34 days, it's like 34 days.
I just think a month.
It's like when somebody says a year... and you think of 1 year, it's just nothing. But when they say 365 days, which is how long I will be holding this belt, by the way.
And just so you're aware, when I win the title later on tonight, which I will,
okay,
I've got a fucking movie picked out for you to get you back from that piece of shit that you made me watch. So.
I stand by all my comments. Turbo Kid is a great movie.
Well, you're an asshole.
If you haven't seen Turbo Kid, all you fine listeners out there, I really do think you should watch it.
No, don't.
Or you could listen to Chris's review of it in the last episode.
Listen to my review. I talk about all the spoilers.
Yeah, you do.
On the movie. So just listen to our last episode. I'll save you from watching that piece of shit.
On that point, though, and this is great. It's like on that point, we talked about Turbo Kid. I gave you it to watch because I feel that it is genuinely a good movie. And 88% on Rotten Tomatoes still. So like you like your Rotten Tomatoes. Everybody loves their Rotten Tomatoes.
Not anymore. I don't. That's dead to me now.
Oh, Rotten Tomatoes is like a fucking parasite put on this earth just to piss people off. But you that's why I gave you it, because it has such a high percentage, and I thought it's a really good movie, and you bashed it a little bit, and I put it on the Twitter. I put it out there as I do with the episodes. I promote the episodes on the Twitter, and we got a retweet from an executive producer on Turbo Kid.
You're fucking joking.
Did you see that?
Did he listen to the episode?
Well, I would like to think that no. Otherwise, we wouldn't have got that retweet. But he was like, owns the company that distributed the movie, and he's like an executive producer, and he retweeted.
Wow, okay.
I'm just saying.
So, so he might be listening to this episode right now.
Most likely.
Fuck you, sir. Fuck you.
Well, I hope he isn't now. That's a hell of a retweet. I was happy with that. I mean, for me, that's like, next step, quick message, come on the show.
Really?
Just explain what the movie's about.
I can be polite and well behaved with the best of them.
Yep, you certainly can. So on that note, while I'm on about the Twitters, you can find us on the Twitters at 365Flicks Pod. You can find us on the Facebook at 365Flicks Podcast. You can find us on these snazzy networks that we're on. We are on the Wicked Radio Network. We are on the Tangent Bone Network. We're on nerdly.co.uk, which is our British home, because we need one. Would you like to try the next one?
We're going to go 2 for 2.
You did so well last time.
Yeah, the pressure's on now. It's worth the title. We're on the Geeky Antics Network Global.
Little stutter at the start, but you got there. Yeah, we're on there as well, and we love being on there. We're on the Be Geeks website, which is a cracking website, and of course you can find other podcasts like History Bad Ideas, Jock and Nerd. They're all on there. But while I'm on it, we are also part of a pretty snazzy group on Twitter called the hashtag Pod and Family. Now, have you been seeing this?
I have.
If you put the hashtag Pod and Family in, all the other podcasts out there that are on that little group, they kind of help you out and they retweet you. And it's a fantastic little way of getting put about. But I've discovered a couple of podcasts through doing this, which is great. Like I've discovered the Epic Film Guy.
You told me about these guys before. I've not heard of them, but
these
it
guys
tends
are
to
great.
Take me a while to discover new podcasts. It's normally you tell me about them.
I've got 2 to tell you about tonight, Chris, so I'm glad you said that. This could be a new section. I could introduce you to new podcasts, because you know what I'm like, I'll listen to 1 or 2 and then I'll move on to the next. But Epic Film Guys, you've got to listen to them. They are literally, we're going to do our Batman vs Superman review later on. They are literally, I've listened to 2 reviews on podcasts so far, apart from Brigger's 5-minute little tirade on it. I've listened to 2, and one of them was We Hate Movies, which was quite damning.
It was funny though.
But the thing is, with those guys, they're funny as hell, so yeah. There was one bit that kept cracking us up, when they're referring to Batman and Superman being the Wild Stallions. That had me in fucking hysterics, because that was great.
I was loving the Holly Hunter / Gary Busey impression.
Aye, that was pretty cool. But I listened to theirs, which was quite damning, and I've also listened to Epic Film Guys, which they quite liked it. So it was nice to get 2 different kind of reviews. And another podcast I've been listening to in the last couple of weeks is called Story Breakers. Now, I think you would like this one. This one's where they take an idea for a movie that's already been made, and they reboot it, or they give it a sequel, but it's like their story behind it. They do really good stuff. They give you a proper good plot of what's going on. I went back, listened to a few of their early ones. They done the Justice League Mortal that George Miller wrote. There was a script going around for a while.
Right.
They did a 2-part episode where it's literally a full read through with different voices and everything. It's fantastic. These guys are great. I think you should have a listen to Storybreakers. So that's just that little bit of love that we're hitting out there now. I think that might end up being a regular thing, because I like to.
No, why not?
And if you're thinking about listening to History of Bad Ideas, just listen to us, because we're better, and just don't listen to them.
Oh, you're going there.
Oh, did you listen to their last episode?
I did.
I mean, I'm not being funny, but I'm feeling quite a lot of love going your way from those guys.
Well, I've got the voice of a Scottish angel.
You do have the voice, but I have Chris Pratt abs.
You do, yeah.
Apparently. Have these guys actually seen a picture of me?
You've got about as many abs as I do.
Just because you look like Kevin Owens.
Fuck you.
But yeah, they're throwing a lot of love your way, and I'm just getting slated. Like, what's this? Like, I'm French, I'm Belgian, I'm
Jamaican.
I mean, I do a wicked Rihanna.
You do.
I do it. And I'm not doing it. I know Kev Wright's out there listening, dying for me to do it again, but I don't want him to crash his car again, so I'm not going to do it. He phoned me that night. He's like, oh, I've just been listening to the podcast. I just about crashed my car. I just thought I'd phone you and tell you. And I'm like, yeah, but you're okay, yeah? You didn't actually crash your car, did you?
Is that quite good? Not that he almost crashed his car, but we were kind of making people crash their car because we're so fucking funny.
Well, I do think that no press is bad press. Like, if there was an atrocity in the world that was done on account of us, that's not bad press.
Huh.
Like, it's not, is it? Like, I consider that, I'm not going to say I'd be flattered, but I consider it quite an honour. I would. So, let's just kick on.
So if there's some warlord out there that's wanting to kill a bunch of people in the name of 365Flicks, you'd be happy with us?
We'd be on the front pages, we'd be all over the news, we'd be breaking headlines. Yeah, that's good press.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, it's us two, so we'd probably respond by going, that's a laugh in it. That wouldn't work out well.
And it would be like, you know what? You would literally be sitting there going, I'll take it, but we're not putting a hashtag on it.
Yeah. Yes, I would.
So would you like to just roll on with some news, or is there any other business you want to take?
No, I'm happy with that. I've not got a great deal of news, to be honest with you. Have you seen the title of Sharknado 4?
I have. I knew you were going to love this.
Awesome. I can't wait for July to see that.
I am not watching this movie.
You are. You've got to.
Is this the movie you're going to give me? Because it's a few months off.
It's not out yet.
You'll have defended that a few times, but I'll have defended that a few times.
Retaining that son of a bitch.
Sharknado.
Once I win it. No, I'm not giving you Sharknado. Don't you worry about that. But so the name of Sharknado 4 is The Fourth Awakens. Oh, God, so cool.
How have they got away with that?
That's so cool.
I know it's not like a blatant rip-off, but how have they gotten away with that? How's Disney not turned around and said, no, fuck off with your shark movie?
Because it's Sharknado, so the Disney are like, whatever. Do we care? Who gives a fuck?
So you're still looking forward to this, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
So have we got any confirmed sort of people in it? Because they tend to get decent celebrities.
No, I don't think they have yet. Well, decent as a decent.
They got Jedward.
They got Jedward and they got Kelly Osbourne.
Jedward are awesome.
The Hoff was in the last one, I think.
The Hoff.
The Hoff's in everything.
So, did you see the pictures that came out today of Doctor Strange?
I did.
With, I didn't realise, what's his name was in it. I'm not going to attempt his second name, but Chitwell? Blah, blah. He was in that 12 Years a Slave and stuff.
All right. Okay.
I didn't realise he was in Doctor Strange. That's a good
Neither did I.
It's a good little pairing, Benedict Cumberbatch and him, because everybody knows I'm a bit of a cumber bitch. I mean, and I'm looking forward to Doctor Strange. Sort of. I think I am. We
all know that when Marvel take risks, it works out well.
Yes.
So I don't see any reason to think that there's going to be anything to worry about with that movie.
Although,
and it's got Cumberbatch in it, so
if I'm completely honest, after all the shit that's been going on this week, if Marvel does fall flat on their face with Doctor Strange, I think I'm going to be pretty happy. I don't want them to, don't get me wrong, I don't want them to. But if they do, I'm going to feel quite happy.
Here's the first thing, right? We're going to come to Batman vs Superman in a second, after we finish the news. But here's the thing with that you've just fucking said. That thing that's just come out your fucking mouth just now.
Okay, sorry, okay.
It's not Marvel's fault.
I know it's not Marvel's fault. Although they did pay a lot of, reporters and journalists. You did see that.
Did they also have JFK assassinated? Or
I heard that they might have been in on it.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit. I think that's why they're in bed with Disney now. because they're quite shady too. So maybe. I'm just saying it was all over the place that they were paying journalists to...
A lot of things have been all over the place.
Yeah.
That's just such fucking bullshit.
That is bullshit.
You know, all of these guys, you've not been guilty of this.
Have I not?
No, you've not. I don't think you have.
I've said a few rash things in the last week.
I don't think you've been guilty of this one, but these guys who have been saying to anybody who comes out of Batman vs Superman saying, "Oh, you're just fuck you, you're just in love with Marvel, you're a Marvel whore."
Yeah, I have seen that.
That is such fucking crap.
I've seen a lot of this. I'm Marvel haters and DC haters, love Marvel fanboy. You know, I have seen it.
That is such crap. I mean,
it's atrocious.
I'm a Whedon whore, as we all know. I'm a Spider-Man whore, as we know. But it doesn't mean to say that I can't appreciate DC films.
Of course you can. Of course you can. You're well within your rights.
Anybody who's going about spitting out that bullshit can just fuck off.
And there seems to be a lot of people spitting out.
That's crap. That is such crap.
But
that what you just said just now, I forgot what you actually said because I started ranting. Oh yeah, it's not Marvel's fault. It's not Marvel's fault that Batman vs Superman is getting slated by people.
I know.
It's nothing to do with Marvel.
I know, but I would like to see them fall.
So the fact that you just said...
I want to see them fall.
The fact that you just said, if Doctor Strange flops like a bastard...
I don't want it to.
You'd be quite happy.
I'd be quite happy, but you know how much I love Benedict Cumberbatch.
You can't have Cumberbatch being in a flop at the Fifth Estate.
I'd have my flop in him.
So what's your expectation?
No, but I totally get what you're saying about that, about the whole DC and the people saying that people who badmouth Batman vs Superman are obviously Marvel whores, and it pisses me off because why did it have to go there straight away? Like, why did that have to be a thing straight away? That people were just like, oh, you didn't like Batman vs Superman because you're in love with Marvel. There shouldn't be this DC Marvel thing. I kind of understood it in the height of the comic book days when Stan Lee and whoever was like battling, and it's like, nah. Fuck that shit. Because all you want is you want a good fucking superhero movie. That's all anybody wants. And I hate the fact that it got there so quickly that people were saying that shit. But it got there, and I think we have to expect it.
Well, we know that assholes are everywhere.
Assholes are
I think that, you know, this past week with Batman vs Superman has shown... I mean, I'm not saying that the movie is perfect or anything like that, far from it. But this past week has shown that there's people are just willing to spit out such crap, and it's a fucking good time to be a cinema fan.
Of course it is. It's a good time to be a cinema fan.
You've got Marvel making fucking kick-ass movies. I know that people had their gripes with Ultron, but fuck off. And we've got Civil War coming up in a month's time, and I can't wait to see that. And we've got DC on the other side of the coin, who are you know, they're in the middle of setting up this whole fucking universe, and it's great.
Yeah, but nobody seems to be able to see the bigger picture here. So, you know, we'll get to all that. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll get round to there.
Sticking with DC, though, did you read that Hans Zimmer has quit?
Yeah, apparently Batman vs Superman is such a bad movie that he's decided to retire. Yeah.
Was it that?
I don't think it was that. It was nothing to do with that. I mean, Hans Zimmer's getting on a bit, isn't he? It was maybe about time. There's only so many times you can remix the
That's true.
in a song, you know. There's only so many times.
To be honest, you know, just John Williams are your mate, so.
Yeah. And to be perfectly fair, the Batman Superman was him, but it was also Junkie XL. Was it XL or Junkie something XL? Like, I'm assuming that like DJs.
Oh dear. But
they were also part of the Batman Superman. I think it shows the most in the Wonder Woman soundtrack, which was fucking the balls. But they were, I reckon they probably done quite a bit as well. But yeah, Hans Zimmer's retired. Not really that fussed.
Nah, I'd be more gutted if John Williams said, I'm done.
There seemed to be a big thing. There did seem to be a big thing about it though. When they announced it, it was like, oh, Hans Zimmer's retiring, and I was kind of like, okay, like bothered. Don't get me wrong, he's good, but once you've heard that Inception soundtrack,
yeah,
and then the Inception soundtrack filtered its way into every single TV show, advert, movie going. I mean, we even ripped it off in our early days, like in our early episodes.
Right, we did.
Our very first ever intro was like, boom.
Were we ever that young?
We were that young. That was back when what was that? 0 to 6?
Is that what the intro was?
Aye, and then episode 7 was when Will came in with his bitchin' fucking all that shit.
Wow, impressive.
Most impressive. You know, the guitar metal.
I know, I've heard it.
All that.
Stop doing that.
But that came in around about episode 7. But before that, we were ripping off a Hans Zimmer song. Wow.
Or a noise. It's not exactly a song, is it? It's a noise.
A noise, aye. I would love to know what that comes from. Like, what kind of instrument that comes from.
I think it was like the bing of a microwave and he just like slowed it the fuck down.
Bing. Nah.
Could be.
It could be. So, I suppose I'm going to address this as well because this is something that I keep reading and it's like, I just want to say thank you to anybody who did write a bad review or make a bad review of Batman vs Superman, because now we're going to get a laugh-a-minute fucking Suicide Squad.
Oh.
Apparently. It's going to be full of chuckles. They're reshooting the Jared Leto scenes so that he can have, I don't know, fucking balloons in his hand. He's going to be dancing around like Jack Nicholson every 2 minutes. He's going to be doing his best Cesar Romero impression. I'm not happy with this.
No.
And
that just screams of somebody's bottle crashing.
It does. It really does. And everything I'd been reading, Deborah Snyder, who's like the executive producer of everything right now, she kind of came out and she says Marvel, Warner Brothers and DC are still very much, they have that plan and they're going to go ahead with it. We've got Wonder Woman coming, we've got The Flash coming, we've got the Aquaman coming. We start just filming Justice League next month. And she seemed so like the tractor beam was set and it didn't fucking matter what was getting said. We're going to carry on with our project. And then, like, a couple of days later, they're doing reshoots on Suicide Squad to make it funny. To make it funny. What part of the Suicide Squad was you hoping was going to be funny? You're going to get the odd little bit of banter.
Well, here's an idea. Write a script that's got humour in it. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having a script with humour in it.
I think that kind of movie's going to have humour anyway. It's going to be awkward.
Well, it's going to be. It's got Will Smith in it. It's going to be a laugh a riot.
Jesus. Do you think that they just like re-filming scenes where he can just be like, I'm dead
this
shot?
This is a story all about
he can just be like, I'm dead shot. Wicka wicka wow wow west. Oh God, no, I hope not. This has gone from being... Batman vs Superman was my most anticipated movie this year. Could not wait to see that movie. I've been dying to see that movie. I can't wait to see Civil War, don't get me wrong, I can't wait to see it. But Suicide Squad was like right beside Civil War for me, and now it's kind of been knocked right down.
See, you know what, mate? I completely... This is weird. This is weird, right? We'll just tangent for a second. It's been pointed out... Kev Wright pointed out, we were speaking, I think it's actually about Batman vs Superman on the Facebooks the other day, and Kev Wright said, it's weird having you two agree. Yeah. And it is actually quite weird agreeing with you and not arguing with you.
That's because this movie has split people so down the middle that it's actually brought us together.
I know, right? It's just like, I think this is where like our superpowers...
Possibly.
It's very weird.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway.
So something caught my eye this week, in the last week. You made a bit of a prediction on the last episode about a one Mr. Tom Hiddleston. And he's now come out and said that Thor Ragnarok is going to be his last outing as Loki.
Aye, I read that.
Is he maybe making space for the next James Bond movie?
We called it.
Because everybody seems to be saying it now. It seems to be a thing. You were the first person I heard that said it. I mean, I wasn't thinking of Tom Hiddleston, but I've heard quite a few people saying this now.
Well, you know, we found out on that episode I am insightful as a bastard, so...
You are insightful as a bastard. Is that the one where we played the interviews and you were like, so what's it like treading the boards? What, pip, pip?
That's exactly what I said. Anyway,
so yeah, do you think that's coming? You think?
I think that's going to be a thing. I'm completely happy with that, especially after seeing the final episode. It was bloody awesome, and I recommend that you watch it.
I never watched it.
It'll be on Netflix before long.
It will be, aye.
But it was really good, and as I said on the last episode, I think it's being a vehicle for him, being set up as the new Bond
to get him into.
I reckon it's a done deal, and they've kind of put him in there in that role to just get people on board, kind of thing. Like, because everybody thinks of him as Loki, but after watching that, I could actually see him as Bond now.
Like I say, he's come out and he's basically done some sort of interview and basically said, this is going to be my last outing as the Loki. And I mean, to be perfectly honest, do we need to see him as Loki again?
Well, the end of Thor 2, you do need to see him.
Obviously bring him back for Thor Ragnarok, but we don't necessarily need to see him again. So, you know, it's a good move on his part. And if it is because he's going over to James Bond, you know, all the luck to him.
Absolutely, yeah.
It'd be good to see him playing that sort of role.
He does seem like a sound bloke.
He seems like he'd go for a pint.
Yeah, okay. I've not got anything else, really.
No, nothing else. The only other thing that I did see that kind of caught my eye, purely for the simple fact that I don't want to see it anyway, is Blade Runner 2 has now cast Batista.
Yeah.
Really, like, I'm still on the whole thing, like, this movie shouldn't be made, because Blade Runner 1 is, like, the most overhyped, sucked off, pretentious fucking movie ever made, to be honest.
Wow.
Like, I watched it back in the day when I was young, and I watched
I'm sure I've got it on Blu-ray somewhere, like one of the many final versions.
One of the
it.
millions of versions.
One of the many ultimate versions.
And when I went to college and I done like a film course and all that, we had to like dissect Blade Runner because it's the quintessential fucking movie. It's not. It's a piece of shit, to be honest.
It's all right.
He's a good director.
I can't remember the last time I watched it.
Ridley's a good director in his own right. He always has been. That movie does nothing for me. So I just want to bring up the fact that they've cast Dave Bautista in it.
Meh, fair enough. Yeah.
But this is the movie that is not...
I'll not be seeing it. I've got about as much excitement about that as like Sin City 2. What is the point of that? We don't need to see that.
We don't. So, would you like to move on to the meat and potatoes of the episode?
Yeah, let's do this thing.
I'm Jason.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Blake from the History of Bad Ideas. And we'll get back to your regularly scheduled program here in just a second, geek listeners. But we do a weekly podcast called The History of Bad Ideas.
Yeah, where we'll discuss things like television or movies or music or games or any other thing that falls into our geek-related podcast knowledge.
You can find us on Geek Life Radio, Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, or Radio-Blitz, Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central, or you can listen to us whenever the hell you want on iTunes and Stitcher. Check us out. Roger says goodbye.
Goodbye.
What are we talking about?
So we're talking about Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
We're going to do it slightly differently because everyone who's got a podcast has been sort of reviewing the movie and
everybody does have a podcast.
And yeah.
That's why we do it.
You know, Imran's been taking care of that.
He keeps telling everybody to do podcasts.
So everybody's been reviewing it. Most of them have been calling it worse than shite.
Yep.
We are, for once, on the same page, whereby we disagree with you.
You disagree with me?
No.
Or I disagree with you.
We disagree with them.
With the populace.
Yes.
With like the what was it? It's down at 29%. So that's
fuck that. Fuck Rotten Tomatoes.
What's that, like 71% the other way? Or is that really shit math?
No.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes is go
fuck them. Fuck them. No, it's been getting a lot of hatred, and we think you more than me you've been getting into quite a lot of arguments.
I do feel like I should apologise. I'm not going to, but I do feel like I should, because on Facebook I have been getting into some heated rants.
Yeah, I've noticed.
On Twitter I have been getting into some heated arguments.
I've gotten involved in a couple of them, but most of them have been like, I've not got time for this.
The thing about my rants and the thing about my arguments that I'm having is that I'm not really defending it, because I technically don't think the movie needs to be defended. I personally, defended. I think the movie, I gave it a solid rating, and we'll get to the rating later. I gave it a solid rating, and I'm not budging from it because I personally love the movie. I think it's a great movie. But when people start doing all this bullshit about the comic book and the character and he doesn't kill people and bollocks, we're going to address all that in the review. But when I start seeing stuff like that, I feel like I just have to get involved. And to be honest, I love just getting people to bite.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you. Most of the time it's me. No, that's been getting on my bloody nerves as well. And we will get to that. Yeah. That's been getting on my fucking nerves as people coming out with that kind of shite. Same with the Martha thing. That's been getting on my fucking nerves as well. I did watch a video on the YouTubes by Angry Joe, who wasn't because of... Right, okay, spoiler alert, by the way.
Yeah,
we're going to be doing spoilers in this section here. So if you don't want the movie spoiled for you, then just sort of skip to the Wrestlemania bit. Or just keep listening. Angry Joe did a good video. He wasn't entirely on board with the movie because of, the lack of Superman in the movie.
Yeah.
And the doomsday aspect and what have you as well, which is that's a niggle that I've got as well, but we'll come to that later on. But he raised a good point about the whole Martha thing. And he raised a good point about the Batman using guns thing and the Batman killing thing. So there are counterpoints to all of this all of the points that people have been raising, there are counterpoints, and then there are counterpoints to the counterpoints. It's been I don't think I've ever known a movie to be this polarizing before.
I think before this was probably Man of Steel.
But even then, I can't remember when we saw Man of Steel. I mean, we both love Man of Steel.
Well, I pointed out on the crossover episode with Jock and Nerd when we talked about Man of Steel, because when they came on, that was like, what can we get a good debate going about? And it had to be Man of Steel, because they weren't overly happy with it. We were quite happy with it. And I said back then that I remember coming out of that cinema and everybody having loved it. Like, I don't remember a single person turning around and saying, that was shit.
No,
that was
definitely not.
Terrible. And then it was like 2 to 3 weeks later, and it was like, you know what, Man of Steel was terrible. And then a month later...
Do you not think... Sorry to interrupt you. Do you not think that's like a pattern now?
It is a pattern.
This is... You know, the same thing happened with Ultron. You know, when the end credits roll and all that kind of thing, I can't... The cinema was packed, and, you know... Everybody was sat waiting for the mid credits scene and all that kind of thing, as you do. There was nobody sat there going, "Oh, fuck me, what a load of shit that was." There was not a single person in this packed, 200, 300 seat cinema. Not a single person was sat there. And then, as you say, Kev, 2 weeks later, everybody's saying, "Oh, well, that was a bit rubbish, wasn't it?" Force Awakens.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty of the Ultron thing. I'll completely hold my hands up. When I walked out of that cinema, I felt like I had just watched an entertaining as hell movie. I was so pumped. I was like, that was amazing. And then 2 to 3 weeks later, when I'd really sat down and thought about it, I was like, that was like, it wasn't shit. It was still a good movie. It still is a good, entertaining movie. 2 to 3 weeks later, I was kind of like, well, if they could have done that a little bit better, they could have done this a little bit better. I wish they had done that. But I still think Age of Ultron is a good movie. But
yeah.
People did jump on the wagon and start smashing it.
It's very much a bandwagon thing. And me personally, I do think that the Batman vs Superman thing is a bandwagon thing.
Yeah.
People do have valid gripes about the movie, but I do think a lot of it is a bandwagon thing.
I do, and it just so happens that the bandwagon pulled into the station before the movie came out, which just makes it even worse.
That was one of the points I raised to when we were speaking on Facebook the other night with Kev Wright and Bruni.
Oh,
is
Bruni.
that
fucking Bruni? Tell you what, that kid's dead to me.
Again.
Fucking
hell. Is that the point that I raised was some of the reaction, not all of the reaction. We're not getting into conspiracies here. We're not doing that. It's bullshit. Some of the reaction to this movie, to me anyway, personally, seems a bit like a witch hunt.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from with that, especially with the fact that there are now fucking petitions to remove Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Which I might be a little bit biased because I like Zack Snyder movies. I know what I'm getting with the Zack Snyder movie. I know what I'm not going to get with the Zack Snyder movie. The guy's clearly got some sort of vision here. And there are bits and pieces in this movie that we'll get to that clearly it's part of his future vision. And I think a lot of people are kind of like, people keep saying there's plot holes all over the place. There's not plot holes. We just don't know what the end game is yet. There's certain scenes in that movie that I don't think they'll pay off until Justice League Part 2, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Like, there are certain scenes there.
But that's a really good point. There was a podcast that I was listening to reviewing Batman vs Superman, the Nerd and Nerd.
Yeah,
and that's another one that you got into.
That was a good one.
I do love those guys.
That's
I really
3.
do.
I have actually listened to 3 because I listened to theirs.
But
he wasn't willing to budge.
He was not willing to budge. No. Not 1 inch. And he was saying, no, you can't have a movie. You know, you can't have a movie where you have to assume that this has happened and this has happened and this has happened. That's crap.
I can see what he was saying, but Snyder and WB and DC, they're having to reverse engineer this whole thing, because if they just came out, I know what people are saying, if they had made a Batman movie, a Wonder Woman movie, an Aquaman movie, a Flash movie, and a Superman movie too, like Man of Steel 2, and then we get Justice League, what's everybody going to say? They're going to say, oh, well done, you've copied Marvel. Mm-hmm. They had to reverse engineer the whole thing. So what they've done is their original movie, obviously you've already got Man of Steel, but their original movie is a sort of team-up movie. It's half the team, but it's a team-up movie. Mm-hmm. So, and then you split off. I love what they're doing. I've been a huge fan of the way they've been wanting to do it for a long time, but let's just see where the vision takes us.
But that comes back to the witch hunt thing, I think, is that as soon as they said, right, we're going to do our team-up movie, and everybody was like, that's ripping off Marvel. And then as soon as you said, right, well, we're not doing it, where we're going to do Man of Steel 2, Batman, Wonder Woman.
Yep.
Oh, what are you doing that for? That Marvel didn't do it like that.
Exactly. They couldn't win. They
couldn't win. So,
they were fighting a battle from the very beginning. They could not win.
So that was what I thought, is that whether it's people not liking Zack Snyder in charge of it, I know that people have issue of what he's, how he's directing the portrayal of Superman. I don't have any issue with that.
No bones.
We spoke before we started recording about that kind of subject where, the portrayal of Superman, the portrayal of Batman. Batman doesn't kill. Superman should be more full of hope. This isn't like the comics. This isn't like the comics. This isn't like the comics. He doesn't do this in the comics. The point that I raised to you before we started recording, Kev, was to me that there's a certain aspect of sort of snobbery towards people who have... I've read the Death of Superman comic book, but that didn't affect me enjoying the movie. So there seems to be, in my opinion, there seems to be a certain aspect of snobbery for people who have read the comics. No disrespect to people who have read the comics for the last 20 years, 40 years. Superman's been around a while, but this is a movie, it's not a comic book. You can't just make a fucking page-for-page remake of a comic book, because then everybody would be saying, oh, what are you doing that for? We know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's like they can't fucking win.
And then you would have the people who hadn't read the comic book saying, well, I didn't get it. I don't know what that is. I don't know why that happened. I don't know what this is. And then you have people who've read the comic books saying, well, they did it, but they didn't quite do it right. It wasn't spot on, panel perfect. And it's an argument we're always going to be having. And
you know what? We come back to the Civil War movie that's coming out next month. That's loosely based on a comic book.
It's got the same name.
Or a graphic novel.
It's called Civil War.
Exactly, mate. It's got the same name. And some of the same characters, but it's not the same story.
It's not.
And people don't seem to be up in arms and saying,
no.
People aren't going, oh, this is going to be fucking shit.
But I think the big thing about that is Marvel's paid their dues, to be fair. They've knocked out the park with about, 12 movies now? 10, 11 movies now? They've knocked out the park, to be fair. They've made a couple of missteps, but very few. My thing with the whole, when everybody was up in arms about Zack Snyder and all that, remember when they cast Ben Affleck as Batman? The internet lost its fucking shit.
It did.
The internet broke, There was all
the
this...
internet always fucking breaks about something.
But when they turn around and they says we're going to cast Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, everybody was yeah. When they cast Chris Hemsworth as Thor, I didn't hear any beef. Mm-hmm. Chris Evans, even though Chris Evans has played about 12 different comic book heroes and fucked up at least 8 of them, even though he's done all that, when they cast him as Captain America, it's perfect, Where was the hatred for all them getting cast? There was no hatred because people wanted to give them a chance. Nobody wanted to give Ben Affleck a chance. Gal Gadot got nothing but shit. Yeah. They were like,
I mean, I have to admit, I'm guilty of that because I wanted to see Christina Hendricks in the role.
I know you did.
But
Gal Gadot wasn't my first choice, but as soon as they said it, I could see it, and I was like, I'm up for that. Let's see what she does.
Certainly after seeing the movie, I'm definitely up for seeing more of her as Wonder Woman.
So on that,
let's get into the movie then.
We've bantered about it, so let's talk about a little bit of non-spoilery stuff. Let's talk about performances, the movie as a whole, and then we'll jump into the movie a little bit, and we'll just hit on some big points. So basically, performances-wise, we'll start with probably the most polarizing character in the whole movie. We'll start with Jesse Eisenberg.
I loved him.
I know you did. And I'm completely on the same page.
I loved him from start to finish. Somebody said on Facebook, I can't remember who, he was like Mr. Bean on Smack.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's what I replied to. What the fuck's wrong with that? I loved him. He played it as a manic, a sort of a manic, aggressive, fucked up in the head Lex Luthor. And what is wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that.
I thought from the second that Jesse Eisenberg was cast, I realised that's how he was going to kind of play it. Because that's how he plays. That's how he generally plays characters. I had nothing against that. I love Jesse Eisenberg.
He's a fast talking. He's fidgety. He always kind of comes across a little bit paranoid. So what were people thinking? They weren't going to get Gene Hackman. They weren't going to get Kevin Spacey. Kind of got Kevin Spacey a little bit towards the end of Superman Returns, but they weren't going to get any of that. You were going to get Jesse Eisenberg.
I mean, the bit in was it a book launch or something like that? When
he's doing the speech.
Yes. Yeah. That was amazing.
It was that whole scene.
When he kind of lost it and he was doing like a monologue that was supposed to be in his head, but he was saying it out loud. That was amazing. I loved it.
Because he was on about, because with great knowledge and all that comes great power, and he goes, and I am power. And he's just kind of, because you realise he was about to say that he's powerful, and everybody's going to think, look at this egocentric prick, which is what he was. I just thought he nailed it. And that, the scene, we will get to it, but the scene on the helipad, I actually thought he wiped the fucking floor with Henry Cavill. He did a better job than Ben Affleck had done the whole movie. He did a better job than Gal Gadot had done the whole movie. That scene when he's on the helipad and he's just monologuing like a son bitch, I was just sat there like, fuck.
I agree completely. I loved it.
This is Jesse doing what Jesse does. So I can understand.
Have you seen the things on Facebook? Facebook's probably bullshit, saying that he's maybe not going to be returning for Justice League as Lex Luthor.
What you the Riddler? He's come back as the Riddler.
No, like not returning at all.
No, he's got to come back. Maybe not Justice League. He might come back for Justice League Part 2, you know, but he'll be back.
They better not recast him.
No, don't I've seen all this thing about there was one guy who was saying that because obviously he's Lex Luthor's son. The Lex Luthor that we know, this is his son. He says that at the start of the movie.
He does say that at the start of the movie.
The Lex at the start of LexCorp is my dad and all this. So he mentions his dad a couple of times.
But that's another thing. I can't remember who again said it. There's been so much of it. Is why is he off his head? Why is he deranged? And he's saying in the middle of the movie, beginning of the movie, that his dad used to beat him and and he was terrified of his dad and all that kind of thing. That'll pretty much fuck you up.
The motivation for me, for Lex's character in this whole movie, the motivation is it almost is the same as Batman. He's just fucking paranoid that this alien has come down and can destroy a whole city, and he basically wants to create the silver bullet. He wants to create the thing that could take him down, and they won't let him. And he's got this R&D kind of mind. He's a genius, sort of. He wants to build this weapon, and they won't let him do it. And then add to that, he's a petulant fucking child, is what he is.
Yeah.
So I totally buy his motivation. If I had his money, his intelligence, I'd probably be the same. Like, there's an alien kicking about. I want to build a fucking kryptonite spear.
I'd like to think I'd be Iron Man.
You'd probably be Iron Man.
Iron
Man.
Iron Man.
So going from there, we'll go to probably somebody that nobody's really talking about in all the reviews I've heard. Put him in a pair, but we'll go from that to Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons. Again, he was another scene-stealing son of a bitch.
Perfect outfit.
He fucking nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
It's a way you're going to go. You've had Michael Caine. The next. I'm not going to say the next step down because I'd put them totally on the same level. But Jeremy Irons.
He was less cry.
He was definitely less cry. He was
a bit more quippy, a bit more
quippy, a bit more
grumpier,
bit more of a drunkard.
Well, that's the thing. It's an older Batman.
Yeah.
So he's had like 30 years of his bullshit.
Of his bollocks, aye. And you can tell. Like, I love the way he was kind of like talking to himself, and the way he was kind of, as Ben Affleck's leaving the room, he's sort of like, I loved all that. I loved everything Jeremy Irons done.
They had a good chemistry together as well, I thought.
They did, didn't they? I don't know why that shocked me. I don't know why the thought of Ben Affleck and Jeremy Irons together, I don't know why that shocked me, but it did. I was kind of like, those two are playing really well off each other. Sort of the way Michael Caine and Christian Bale did, but I thought it was just an English thing, because they were both British. Jeremy Irons and Ben Affleck, they got some chemistry going on, and I loved it.
Yeah, agreed. I loved it as well. There was a point raised about him doing pairs on the Batmobile and stuff like that.
You would expect that he is. He's been repairing. He's been repairing the suit. I've got no problem with that. Alfred being a tech genius.
It's just a lot of these things is just really, really picky.
Oh, it's very
and
nitpicky.
And sort of bordering on petty by some of them.
Everybody's having that.
So next character.
So we'll go from Jeremy Irons and we'll go straight to Batfleck. What can be said about this?
Best Batman since Michael Keaton.
Since Michael Keaton, I'm putting him best Batman ever.
Well, I like me a bit of Michael Keaton, as you know.
I know you do.
He wasn't gonna. He didn't knock off Michael Keaton for me. Michael Keaton is still the best Batman. That would fuck up Hobie's intro for a start.
Yeah, it would. They're not going to change it to be like Ben Affleck was the best Batman.
No, they're not going to do that.
It's got a ring to it, though.
For me, anyway.
By the way, if they do try and take that out of our episode, put it at the start, I'm not going to be happy. So crack on.
You got that bigger voice?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I thought he was the best Batman since Michael Keaton. Completely knocked everyone else off. He was an awesome Bruce Wayne. He was a fucking badass Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, the fight scenes, the way he fought.
Awesome.
and all that. You know, the moves during, you know, the fighting style and all that kind of thing. That was the
Very like Arkham Knight-y, wasn't it? It was brilliant. Very, very like Arkham Knight / The Raid. And if that's what we're getting more of in the R-rated cut, fucking bring it on.
That's what I actually thought during that end fight scene where he's taking everyone down and that, when he's rescuing Martha Kent. I kind of thought, if there's more of this in the R-rated version, I can't wait to see it.
Definitely. So is opponent in the movie Superman, Henry Cavill. I mean, I don't know what I can say about Henry Cavill. I loved him in Man of Steel. I thought he did a great job in Man of Steel. A lot of people are saying he didn't get a lot to do in this movie.
I would kind of agree.
He technically didn't, to be fair. This was definitely Zack Snyder's attempt at making a Batman movie.
Yeah. It was. I would agree with that, yeah. I mean, I wanted to see... I love Henry Cavill in that role, but you know, you're building a universe.
Yeah.
And I've always said I would rather have seen a Man of Steel 2.
Yeah, you have. I think we both said that.
We have, yeah. I thought that Henry Cavill did such a good job in Man of Steel playing Superman that I wanted to see his own solo sequel where we got to see more of Clark Kent.
Do you think this is why they haven't announced a Man of Steel 2 yet?
Oh, that's never going to happen.
Obviously, when we get into it, you'll figure out why. There might not be a Man of Steel 2, but do you think this is why they've delayed it so long? Like, maybe they're not going to mention it because
maybe they knew that they were going to do that storyline. But then you could say, well, you know, give him a Man of Steel 2
and then do that.
So you're a little bit more invested in the character.
Yeah.
Because the spoilers here, you've not got a great deal of time with Superman in the movie, and then he gets killed at the end. So maybe if he'd had his own, if we'd spent more time with Henry Cavill's Superman in the movies, we would have been more invested in the character and a little bit more gutted when he died.
He does have sex with Lois in the bath though. Some stanky bath sex.
Was all you needed?
Yeah, some stanky bath sex. So we'll get to. I mean, apart from Ben Affleck, we'll get to the star of the movie in a second. But we'll just do a quick little rundown. Lawrence Fishburne. Yeah.
Fine.
Phones it in.
Fine.
He does what he does.
I wouldn't say phoned it in. We got to see more of him than in Man of Steel.
Yeah. He is just a scene tune son of a bitch.
Yes. I liked him.
And kind of some of the stuff that people were peeved about in Man of Steel, they cover it with Lawrence Fishburne in this movie. He gets all the sort of like exposition sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Amy Adams.
She was fine. I think she's a decent Lois Lane.
She is a good Lois Lane.
No complaints with her.
What did you think of killing off Jimmy Olsen?
No. I actually did think at the opening scene, or that scene, is that Jimmy Olsen? But surely it's not Jimmy Olsen, because in Man of Steel it was Jenny Olsen. Yeah,
and you saw Jenny later on in the Planet. She was in the Daily Planet. But he is Jimmy Olsen.
Not anymore.
Because exactly the same as yourself. I was like, is that Jimmy Olsen? And then like he got shot and I was like, it can't be Jimmy Olsen. And then when the credits were rolling, we did the same as everybody else in the cinema. We waited a couple of minutes because we thought we might get a Marvel lens. Why the fuck we thought there was going to be an end credits scene? Fucking, it's DC. They're not going to do that.
No, they're not going to do that.
That's just a rip-off. I thought the same thing as you. And as we were sat there, as the credits were rolling, I saw Jimmy Olsen and I thought, so they did kill off Jimmy Olsen like in the first minute. It doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother me. It's kind of, well, what's the fucking point of that?
It just seemed like a little Zack Snyder Easter egg. Like, I'm going to play with these a little bit. I'm going to kill Jimmy Olsen like right at the very start. That's what it felt like. And then we have the star of this. I keep saying the star of the show. She was fucking awesome.
For me, I would say the star of the show would be Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck was, but Gal Gadot, the last fight, the last 20 minutes of the movie, for me, was the Gal Gadot show. Like, she absolutely fucking nailed it.
Yeah, agreed.
And the minute Doomsday kind of smashes her across the screen and she's like across the floor, and then she just gets up and she's got that smile on her face. As soon as she did that, I was like, I want to see Wonder Woman now.
You know what? As soon as her sort of theme music hit,
that fucking great theme song.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, that was a great theme song. I can't wait to see her movie. It's about time that Wonder Woman was on our screens, was on the big screen, getting the. Could she have been in the movie anymore? I don't know, because there was a lot to tell. There was a lot to tell in the movie. I actually thought that the way that they did it, where she's not actually Wonder Woman until the end.
Yeah.
She's just sort of Diana Prince. Diana Prince throughout the movie, and she's trying to get the picture from 1915 off of Lex.
1914.
Was it 14? Was it?
Get it right.
I've got a year and I shall have fucked up. off of Lex Luthor. I love that.
Yep.
I love that whole thing, and I can't wait to see her movie.
I can't wait. Like I say, as soon as she got up and she had that smile on her face, I was in.
You know, I mean, just to sort of play women's rights, it's about time we saw that.
Yeah.
You know, there are plenty of characters out there.
Of course there are.
Plenty of rich characters. It's about fucking time we saw that, and I'm looking forward to seeing the Wonder Woman movie.
I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be the balls, and
I'm fucking hitting all kinds of boards here. I'm like
You
insightful and treading the boards, and then fucking women's rights in this episode. I'm fucking knocking it out of the park.
Hashtag LGBT and all that stuff. Get off your Twitters. So that's kind of the cast, the main cast. We've covered that, how we felt about them. Let's just have a little rundown through the movie. We're not going to go scene for scene. We're going to hit the big scenes. Spoilers. We've already given a couple of spoilers, but you're going to...
Yeah, if you get pissed off now, it's your own fault.
You're going to get some more, and to be perfectly honest, I think we've done the best we can. We waited a week before we got in there. I have literally been tearing my hair out at the fucking social media bollocks that's been going on all week, and I've been wanting to shout from the rooftops.
You've been pretty calm so far, mind. I think I've been more ranty than you have.
I've been calm because, you know what it is? I feel like I've vented quite a bit already.
Yeah.
But I think in here, there's a few things that I want to address. I have a few sort of points that we should be making.
Hey, are you a jock that likes comics?
Are you a nerd that likes comics?
Do you feel left out sometimes?
Well, then we've got the show for you.
I'm Imran.
And I'm Anthony.
He's the jock.
And he's the nerd.
And we host the Jock and Nerd podcast at jockandnerd.com. If you're looking for fun, entertaining, laugh-out-loud geek chat over all the latest Marvel, DC shows and news, visit jockandnerd.com.
Full spoiler podcast, lots of swearing.
You're such a jock.
You're such a nerd.
Oh, come on.
Shut up, nerd.
Okay.
So the movie opens up, and straight away, for me, sitting in the cinema, we were starting on a bad point. Because way back in the day, one of the earliest episodes we did, when we talked about this movie coming, I said, like, one of the one things I don't want to see in this movie is the death of Martha and Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
But you know what? Zack Snyder doesn't waste a frame in anything he makes. Watchmen's shot perfectly. It's a beautiful film. Man of Steel is a beautiful film. He doesn't know how to waste any sort of screen. And the way they killed Thomas and Martha Wayne was fucking beautiful.
Yeah. I was going to say that there. Did the pearls on the gun and all that kind of thing? It was very sort of Watchmen-y.
It was extreme.
I thought he did it well. It didn't, like you say, it didn't take up too much time. Because I was the same as you. You know, like take note, fucking Spider-Man movie. We know Batman is an orphan. We know, and you know, we know that Spider-Man is an orphan, what have you. We don't need to see that again. But I thought he did a good job. I really did.
It was beautiful, and of course we had Negan and we had Maggie playing. I
didn't realise that was Maggie. I knew it was Negan.
I cannot believe you didn't realise that was Maggie. Because even when I put it on, the you know how we did the talking heads, and I said that I thought it was going to be Maggie that meets it's coming out afterwards, and I said it was going to be Maggie who met Lucille, and then that night or a couple of days later, there was a thing saying that Lauren Cohen was going to be playing Martha Wayne. And I was like, how cool is that? Negan's playing Thomas Wayne. He's going to like bat Maggie in the face at the end of the season, and Maggie's playing Martha Wayne. Like that, it's all connected.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that. I was probably thinking of something else.
But that for me, and I've seen a couple of things where it's like that is pretty much panel for panel on one version of it. I don't know if it's the Dark Knight Returns or whatever, but they say it's pretty much panel for panel, and the pearls, the gun getting caught in the necklace. I thought it was fucking beautiful.
Yeah, I loved it. I had no gripes with that at all.
As I will say, and as I will gush, Zack Snyder might not be the most perfect director out there, but he's good at what he does. He's amazing at what he does. And one of those things is that he can fill the screen just with... And I'm not talking like George Lucas fill the screen, more droids. More stupid animals. I'm not talking about that. I mean, he knows how to fill a screen and make it... You could take any scene in that movie, and it's a painting. You know, you can hang it on your wall and it's beautiful. Just want to start there. You also kind of get that intertwined, that whole little scene's intertwined with Bruce falling down the well, which again, I'm sure I said I didn't want to see that because I thought that's been overplayed. Again, I thought it was done brilliantly.
Yeah. Another one of the things...
You don't like him levitating, do you?
I had nothing wrong with... I had nothing against that. It was a fucking dream.
Exactly.
It was a dream!
That's what I was going to say, because I saw a lot of people had beef with this. There's magic in the DC world? No, it was a fucking dream. Chill.
So you're dead against magic, but you're okay with a fucking alien from, flying about the city.
Apparently, aye.
It was a dream.
So, as you say, he kind of... he doesn't wake up at that point, does he? No, he doesn't wake up, because then it kind of fades to white, and it's like when mankind met Superman. And you get a fantastic... I love this whole little sequence. Everybody said that this was a reactionary thing from the destruction that was caused in Man of Steel. Batman was never meant to be there. They've thrown that in as a reaction to all the hate they got. I would like to think this was the vision all along. This was Snyder's thing all along.
I would like to think that. I'm not entirely sure.
Even if it is reactionary.
Surely, when they made Man of Steel, the intention would have been to make Man of Steel 2.
Well, yeah.
Either way, I've got nothing against it. It was a cracking scene. I did raise the point in the car on the way home. This is not niggle territory. I just thought it was funny.
Is this the old boy?
This is the old boy in the office block. He gets a phone call from Bruce Wayne saying, "Get everybody out."
Why hadn't
and
you
I just
left
thought,
already?
do you need a fucking phone call from Bruce Wayne when there are buildings falling down around you? Do you need a phone call from Bruce Wayne to say, "Get the fuck out"?
Well, maybe he's like the director of the board, and it's kind of like the Titanic. You go down with the ship.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe he's an old stoic kind of guy like that.
It didn't bother me. It didn't take me out of the movie or make me pissed off or anything like that. I just thought it was funny.
It's kind of a throwaway scene. It
doesn't mean anything.
Does it need it? I think it's more just so that it takes Bruce a little bit more time to get there because he has to phone and try and get cell signals.
It's to help towards Bruce Wayne's sort of being broken-hearted about, pissed off about the event that he lost all of his people in the building. That's all it is.
Basically, that 10-minute scene, that 10 to 15-minute scene, is his version of... It's his point of view of the end of Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And he's flying around in, again, sort of like Born Identity style, flying around in the Jeep, because, let's advertise the Jeep a little bit. And he's doing some pretty badass driving. I don't know, Ben Affleck could drive like that. I'm pretty cool with that. I did love it. And of course, he meets Scoot McNairy's character, Wally or Wallace, who we meet again later. He meets him there. Why there was a horse walking around in the dust? Don't get me wrong, again, Snyder, nice imagery, but I just didn't get it.
Like, just police horse in it?
And then he looks up and he sees Superman and Zod, and I was quite happy to see that again. I thought
that was cool. That was cool. There's nothing wrong with it.
So then it kind of like 18 months later. Is that long enough time to pass, or is it too long? Or I had no problem with it.
No issue with that, no.
Talking about doing a crossover with the Jock and Nerd. I'm hoping that's still on the table after this episode. It might not be, because they might listen to it and be like, fuck those dudes, yeah, But I got sent an article from our good friend, The Jock, written by a man, I forget what his name is. His article was that nitpicky, it didn't bother us.
Yeah, I read it.
But I do want to...
I read the hit, I read some of it. I kind of thought,
I do want to address one thing, and it's basically the next scene of the movie. Like when it cuts to the Indian Ocean, where the kids find the kryptonite underneath the world engine machine and all that. He had this thing, because it was like 10 questions, and I'm not going to go through the article, I'm not going to defend everything in the article. I probably will defend most of it anyway as we go on, but I'm not going to do that. But he had one question asking about why is the world engine still there? Why is the remains of the world engine still there? And the one in the middle of New York, why is it still there? Auschwitz is still standing. That was a fucking atrocity, and they haven't moved that. Up the Berlin Wall, there's still parts of that standing.
Wow.
They haven't taken that away. This is 18 months later. Of course it's still going to be there. It's the remains of it, for fuck's sake. That of all the nitpicky shit that this guy had in his article, that was the one that irked me. Because I'm sat there going, you have this massive big attack from an alien kind on Earth, is the first thing, even if you are Superman and you have the ability to fly and, jump tall buildings in a single bound, you have that ability. Would you really be going around picking up pieces of alien ships?
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, is all of, or half of Metropolis is gone.
Yeah.
Bodies everywhere. There's bloody bits of building everywhere. So maybe the attention was on that rather than something in a nice, pretty little blue pond somewhere.
Maybe. And, of course, it just looks fucking cool.
It looked nice.
It looks fucking cool on camera.
I kind of want to go for a swim in there.
But it just... I'm not going to address that article because hopefully we might talk about that on the... Because I think he wants me to defend all these 10 points, which, by the way, I can. Like, very easily. But that was the first one in the list, and it was the one that I really just thought, wow.
Although you have come up with a perfect argument to that.
I was kind of... That's your beef.
Because who's going to come back with someone to that? Auschwitz is still there.
So then it cuts to Africa, and Lois... I didn't fully understand why Lois was there. She's a way to do... she's
just being all journalisty.
She's a journalist, aye. And we get this awesome scene where Callan Mulvey, of all people, Callan Mulvey, he's in Underbelly, the TV show I was telling you to binge, and he was in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. He was the lead of the strike force. He was Frank Grillo's second in command. And then he's in Batman vs Superman a whole bunch. He's in it quite a bit. So I was quite happy to see him. He kills everyone, and then Superman comes down, save Lois. I thought it was a badass scene.
It was a badass scene. What I didn't pick up on is that people are saying Superman shooting people in that scene.
In that scene? Superman doesn't shoot anybody in that scene. Superman comes down, he just lands.
But isn't that what people are saying? Why would Superman shoot anyone? I didn't pick up that.
No, I don't remember Superman shooting anyone anything.
Well, he wouldn't. It's Superman.
Exactly, why would he?
There were experimental bullets experimental bullets that were provided to the militia by Lex Luthor.
Aye, is this not the whole thing that Lex orchestrated that so that all his security guys killed all those people so that they could blame it on Superman? And Superman gets the blame for that, and that's why Holly Hunter brings the Congress thing.
Yeah.
But he doesn't shoot anyone.
No, see...
He flies a guy through a fucking wall.
I didn't pick up on that when I was watching the movie. People are saying, "Oh, why would Superman shoot anyone?" I didn't catch that.
No, he doesn't shoot anyone. No, he lands and then he flies that guy through the wall, which I fucking love that bit. Straight away, I was kind of like, "Oh, I'm in." And it goes from there to a Congress hearing, and Holly Hunter's doing her best sort of Clarice Starling / fucking Elastigirl. Because she voiced Elastigirl. Holly Hunter was the voice of Elastigirl in The Incredibles, and she didn't half sound like her in this movie. I mean, Holly Hunter was great in this movie. I absolutely loved the few scenes that she was in, and we kind of get a little bit of we spent too long thinking that he could do it. We didn't ask the question, should he? Basically lifted from every other movie ever made.
Isn't that just Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park?
Basically, Ian Malcolm to a T. And then we get some Amy Adams in the bath. I wasn't expecting to see some side boob in my Batman Superman movie.
I was not expecting that at all.
Happy with it.
Yeah, there was nothing wrong with it. There was a kid sitting next to me.
That's what I was going to say. There was a guy with his kid sat next to you, and I had seen the kid, and I did kind of think, huh.
A little bit awkward.
He's got some splaining to do.
But then that wasn't as bad as the bat thing coming out of the grave.
One thing that guy did have to explain to his kid quite a few times. I did hear him explaining who people were.
Yeah, that was getting irritating.
A little bit. But, you know, not everybody's a comic book fan or a superhero fan. Then we cut to...
Or a 8-year-old.
We get some sort of, little bit of Amy Adams and the scene, kind of just me, and a little bit of Henry Cavill doing Henry Cavill. Then we cut to Gotham for what I think is one of the best introductions to fucking Batman. We'd already seen Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne as a kid and stuff and running around the city, but we hadn't seen him in the Batman uniform, and holy shit, it's fucking scary.
Yeah, is this when he's in the corner and stuff? That was quite fucking freaky. Aye,
it's scary as fuck.
And you had the human trafficking victims in the thing, and then they wouldn't let them open the cage because the devil was still inside. That was pretty fucking freaky.
It was.
I mean, but again, that's some badass shit. That's a badass Batman.
It was really well done. He looked great, and the way he just kind of flies around the corners of the rooms, sort of attached to the walls, I was kind of like, oh shit, this is a different Batman. It's a very different Batman. How do we feel about him branding people? I mean, we find out, it's a little bit later on that we find out that when he brands someone, that's like a mark that when they go to prison,
they're getting killed.
You're marked for death kind of thing. Like, again though, for all the haters out there, that doesn't mean that he killed them, technically.
Whatever. Whatever. Just fine.
Just get on with it. It's a Batman Superman movie.
See, that's the thing. You're not. It's based on a comic book. You're not reading a fucking comic book. You're watching a movie. And this is his interpretation of Batman. And just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, just leave it. Just leave it. So Lex wants to forge a weapon. He's telling Holly Hunter that I want to make a silver bullet so that if shit goes down, we can take him down. We can take down Superman. Now, I absolutely love this scene, and I loved Eisenberg.
Well, I got to hear him go, the red capes are coming.
Yeah, that was a little bit after, but in that scene, he's kind of like, he's laying the groundwork with them, and she's all like, meh, 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 meh. And then I love Eisenberg in this scene. I think it's a great scene. I don't care if he's playing basketball. I don't care if he's a young CEO in a Fortune 500. He's just Lex Luthor to me. He's a new Lex Luthor, and it's Eisenberg playing him, and I'm going to give him all the time in the world. However, when he pops a Jolly Rancher into the guy's mouth, that was almost a deal breaker for me. Like, for a second, he almost ripped me right out of the movie when he was like slowly pushing a Jolly Rancher. Maybe I just saw too much into it, but he did. He pushed a Jolly Rancher in the guy's mouth, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit weird.
That was a bit weird and creepy.
But again, it's just another layer to the new Lex Luthor that we're meeting that is like, it's quite fucking scary. Like, I don't want some dude pushing Jolly Ranchers into my mouth.
Well, that's my plans for later on, fucked.
So yeah, you've got you get a quick scene with Bruce Wayne in the underground fighting circles. Are you okay with this? I was perfectly fine with it, but I've seen some hatred towards it. What's Bruce Wayne doing in the underground fighting world? Well, what was he doing in the fucking Narrows in Batman Begins and The Dark Knight? You had no problem with that. Leave it alone, thank you very much. You got some Lawrence Fishburne telling Clark Kent that he's not a good enough journalist to go after the Batman. I loved all this.
Again, yeah, I liked it. I would have loved to have seen a Man of Steel 2 where it was Clark Kent struggling to
get an article off the ground.
Just becoming a journalist that that we all know and love from the adventures of.
He does seem like he's struggling because Perry's just like, you're not covering that. Go to the game.
Well, he's doing little ditty teams and stuff, isn't he?
Yep.
So,
but at the same time, Perry seems to have quite a lot of respect for him.
Yeah.
But it's probably because he's banging Lois. Yeah, I'd have respect for him on that one. And that's when you get to the scene that you're on about, the red capes are coming, which I thought was a little bit out of place. Like, I loved it, and I thought it was cool, but I was kind of, why the fuck's he just started saying that?
Yeah, it seemed from the trailer that I loved that in the trailer.
It made sense in the trailer.
It made more sense in the trailer than it did in the movie. It was kind of just, like you say, it kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He still said it.
He still said it, and it still sounded cool. And we started off what a lot of people, and this seems to be a massive, massive gripe with the movie, but they laid the seeds for the scene coming later with Granny's peach tea. I had no fucking problem with this. I had not a bit of problem about the jar of piss, but people seem to be having a really big problem.
Because of piss?
Yeah. Like when later on you have the scene where, and she turns it around and it says Granny's peach tea, it's a jar of piss. Because she says in that scene that you can piss in a jar and call it Granny's peach tea, but I'm not drinking it. Which I just thought was a cool line to say.
People have got issues.
People got issues with this. People got issues with the fact that a jar of piss is a plot point. It's not a plot point. It's a callback to an earlier conversation. That's what it is. It's not a fucking plot point.
He put it in there just as the...
It's a fuck you.
It's the killing joke.
It's a middle finger.
He put it in there because, you you're about to die. It's the fucking Joker card in The Dark Knight.
Exactly. But no, it's a terrible plot point, and people don't like it. Fucking jar of piss. Get over it. We get a genuine jump scare in the second dream.
Surely people have got better things to get worked up about than a jar of piss.
It seems to be a point of contention. We get a genuine jump scare in this movie when the man bat basically.
The man bat, yeah.
I mean, is that going to be the man bat or?
That'd be pretty cool if it was the man bat. It looked pretty
badass. I was cool with it. I was quite happy with it. We get a series of scenes in this movie with Lois and DC meets Harry Lennox from Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do too much on those scenes.
Well, they've got the experimental bullets from Africa. So Lois's arc in the movie is she's going away to investigate that. Who put these bullets in the arms of the terrorists and all that kind of thing. I had nothing against that storyline. You've got to give Lois Lane something to do. It's Lois Lane.
Exactly, she's a journalist. She's got to do something.
Next.
So I have a note here basically saying that Jeremy Irons is absolutely nailing Alfred. He's doing a fantastic job. His typical British banter with Bruce is just phenomenal, on point. And you have that little scene that we saw in the trailers right at the start with he's looking at the suit, then he turns around and he sees the Robin suit, and the joke's something. Now, I have something to ask you in a little bit. So then you get the scene where everybody's in the same room. I think it's a museum, is it? It's like Lex, because he says how
it's like a sort of a museum opening or something like that.
But it's also meant to double as Lex's house or something like that. Aye. Lex is given like an awesome speech, and it is quite a good speech. And when people kept saying that he was basing Lex Luthor on Max Landis, this is where you see it the most. Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's a great little scene. You've got Kent in there. You've got Bruce Wayne in there. Gal Gadot's flying around. Alfred's talking to Bruce Wayne over the earpiece, trying to direct him around, which I thought was cool.
Which Clark is listening to. That was pretty
Clark's
good as well.
listening in. I thought it was a nice little scene, nice little interplay with everybody. Everybody gets a little scene together. Gal Gadot with Bruce Wayne, and then Superman and Clark Kent, Superman and Bruce Wayne together, and then do you think Lex Luthor knows who Superman is and who Batman is?
Yes.
Right. Because I'm very much on that page as well. I'm 100%.
This is just
he
getting
knows.
eerie. Yes, I do.
Because my thing about that scene, and a few people have said, why is he acting this way? Why is he acting like that? Why is he being all bullshit with them? At the end of the day, when Clark Kent is stood talking to Bruce Wayne, why is that a thing? For all anybody knows, Clark Kent's just a journalist. They don't know he's Superman. He's just a shitty journalist that nobody really cares about. Bruce Wayne is like a billionaire, fucking playboy philanthropist kind of guy. So for Lex to come over and go, Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent in the same room, he very much knows. Yeah. He knows.
Well, I mean, that's his end game. Is he wants Batman to kill Superman.
This whole movie's driven by Lex
He's
Luthor.
engineering it so that Batman will kill Superman.
Yeah.
So I think he knows who they are, and that maybe they were invited there. That's how, because they both got invites, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're both invited there, not necessarily to be introduced to each other, but
it's just a bonus.
Yeah. He knows who they are. That his end game is to get Batman to kill Superman.
And of course, my favourite line in the whole movie is delivered in that scene.
Do not pick a fight with this person.
No, when Ben Affleck says maybe it's the Gotham City in me.
Oh.
I do feel like that's going to be my reply to like any negative situation. Maybe it's a Gotham City in me. Yeah, so like I just said, Lex is pretty much spinning the plates all the way through this movie. I think the whole movie's driven by Lex Luthor, to be fair.
Yeah.
And a lot of people seem to have bother with that. Affleck and Gal Gadot seem to have good chemistry because you have like that second scene after she's stolen the device, because Batman goes in to get Lex's hard drive sort of thing, copy that. Wonder Woman steals it, and then she gives it back to him. It's in his glove compartment. And this brings us to the scene that I think a lot of people are having problems with, and that is the dream sequence, the nightmare. When he's sat at the computer and he's decrypting the hard drive, and then it goes into the nightmare. Now,
it did kind of throw me, this sequence. Now, is this the sequence that people are getting upset about because Batman is using guns?
It seems to be. It seems to be. It's a dream.
Because I can't remember another scene in the movie where Batman uses a gun.
Well, you're bringing up a good point here, right? Everybody seems to be having a big beef about the fact that A, he uses guns, and B, he kills people, right? Batman doesn't actually kill anybody in this movie from what I get. From what I gather, in a dream sequence, a fucking dream sequence is when he kills all those guys and he's shooting them. It's a fucking dream sequence for what we assume is going to be Justice League Part 2, Apocalypse fucking Darkseid.
Yeah, that's what I've read, is that's what the future, that's him seeing
It's
the
what it
future
could be. It's
of
the
what
future
Darkseid will
possibility.
be like. But yeah, I was trying to think the other day about the whole Batman using a gun thing. I can't think of any other time in the movie where he uses a gun other than the grenade launcher with the kryptonite. In
the last scene, when he's fighting the guys in that room, he does use a gun, but he doesn't kill anybody because you can actually see them getting back up and then getting licked again. He could possibly take the blame for 3 people dying in that scene. 2 of them is the one, the guy takes the pin out of the grenade and then he goes to throw the grenade and then Batman kicks the other guy's body and the grenade flies back to him.
Yeah.
Technically, Batman didn't throw the grenade at him, technically. And then the guy jumps back on it and then they blow up in the background. So he could possibly take that as a kill, but I'm not giving him that because he didn't touch the grenade. The guy's body did. And then he shoots Callan Mulvey's flamethrower tank. Yeah. But he totally addresses that. He totally addresses it when the guy's like, Don't come near me. I'll set her on fire. And he says, I believe you.
Yeah.
So he has no other choice. What's his choice? He has to.
But, he's there to save Martha, which we'll come to later on.
And again, technically, he didn't kill him either. He shot the tank and the tank blew up. It was the tank.
That was the tank that,
defective. If anything.
Yeah, the dream sequence, I didn't really need it. I understand why it was there. It's setting up future stuff. In Age of Ultron, you had the dream sequences with Thor Ragnarok and all that kind of thing, setting up future shit. I've got nothing against that. It did throw me, but then I read later on that it's to do with the what's going to happen in Justice League with the Darkseid and all that kind of thing. And whatever, fucking have at it.
The portion that did throw me was the Flash cameo.
Yeah.
When he uses the Speed Force.
Yeah.
Now, I had no problem with it because I totally took it the wrong way. It happened, and I sat there and I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. But I thought, in my head, the way I saw it, he'd already woken up. Everybody's right. It is a dream within a dream. I thought he'd woken up from his nightmare, and then Ezra Miller had come through the Speed Force to give him the warning. And then he was just kind of startled, and he was like, oh. But no, he does then wake up after that. So the dream within a dream, yeah, I can totally get on board with that. But I love that scene. I thought it was fucking cool.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, you're setting up a universe.
Yep.
And going back to people who are saying, "Oh, you can't sort of thingy this and then not explain what it is," or all that kind of thing. Well, yes, you fucking can. Yes, you can. Just look.
So from here on out, it's very much everybody's just putting everything together. Lois is finding out that Lex was behind the whole thing in Africa. Lex is kind of getting that Wally guy from the very start of the movie to be the poster boy against Superman. Superman's getting called out to court. Batman's kind of just finding out that guy's got a dose of animosity, and then it brings you to the Congress scene. I loved it.
I loved it as well.
I absolutely loved this scene. And I loved the fact that the jar of piss was on the table. And I loved that Holly Hunter couldn't get her words out.
Yeah, she kind of just went catatonic.
Exactly.
I can't believe that people are getting fucking annoyed.
People are getting, the A, getting annoyed at that, and the B, getting annoyed at the fact that Superman didn't know there was a bomb in the wheelchair. But he addresses that in a couple of scenes later. He says, I wasn't looking for it. I didn't see it. But he does. Right before he blows up, a split second before he blows up, he does. Because she looks at him, he looks at him, and he knows, and then it blows up. And that's why when it comes back and the flames are all... The flames, man.
You see, I love that bit where
flames, man.
Everyone's obviously all dead and stuff. The whole place is on fire, and Superman just looks pissed.
He is literally standing there like, oh, fuck.
I said that to you on the car on the way back up the road. It's like, for fuck's sake. People are going to say things now.
Aye.
Yeah. I love that scene as well.
But that's just visceral as fuck. That whole scene, I just love the way it looks. And people are getting up in arms about
people are getting... Yeah. To me, I've read that people are sort of getting up in arms because they're saying, oh, why would people think that Superman did that? And to me, it wasn't that people thought he did it. It was that they were blaming him for it happening because he's alien, and all that kind of thing. That's what I read into it.
Plus, it's kind of... It's coming off the back of Man of Steel. It felt to me that it's like the latest in a long line of things that he A, either could have prevented, or B, shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
It's...
I think it's mostly that, isn't it? When you've got Superman and Zod flying through the city and what have you, busting up buildings and stuff. It's not like Superman intended for that to happen.
Yeah.
But it happened anyway. So,
people are pissed
same
off.
as the courtroom. It's not that Superman intended or meant for, or what have you, that the court was going to explode, but it fucking happened anyway. And as you said, he says to Lois, I didn't see it because I wasn't looking for it.
Exactly.
So it happened whether Superman wanted it to happen or not.
And then it goes to Ben Affleck taking out, well, you don't see any bodies, but he's ransacked LexCorp and he's stolen the kryptonite.
Yeah.
Which Lex couldn't have looked happier about.
Well, I mean, that's the thing as well. Obviously, that comes back to the whole thing is Lex's plan is to have Batman kill Superman.
Yeah.
So Batman is pissed.
He basically wants one of them to kill the other one, and it's very much like he doesn't care who.
Well, he wants Superman dead is his plan, and obviously, why not get the Bat of Gotham to do it?
Well, he doesn't have his ace in the hole yet, does he? So, so yeah, Batman breaks into LexCorp, steals the kryptonite, and you get like a bit of a training montage.
Yeah, you got to have a montage
with Affleck kind of making kryptonite weapons, and you're the best. No, I kind of wish it did have that over the top. That would have been pretty cool. And it's round about this point when he finds the other files on Lex's drive that point to basically the Justice League.
Yeah. This is another thing that's getting people worked up.
This is, right? But I think there's a way you can fix this. People are getting fucked off about the fact that they play these clips. And they don't play these clips at this point. They play these clips... Wonder Woman looks at what she watches them.
Batman gives Wonder Woman the files.
Do you not think, had they not had her play them, if they had Batman play them when he found them and we saw them there, and it doesn't take you out of the big fight scene that's about to happen, it kind of just takes you out of the montage for a minute, but it doesn't really take you out of the movie at that point. If they had it there, it wouldn't have mattered so much. But then why the fuck does Wonder Woman come back into the city to help them if she doesn't watch it?
Well, that's it. When in the scene where Wonder Woman plays those clips, I leaned over to you and said that was the perfect way to do that.
It was.
Because I was concerned going into that movie that they were going to try and squeeze too much in, and in my head, I don't think. Well, we'll come to Doomsday later on. But Justice League wise, I was concerned that they were going to try and squeeze too many Justice League members into the movie.
Yeah.
But I think they got a sort of 10, 15 second clip each to introduce you to the characters.
It was just a cheeky introduction.
I thought it was the perfect way to do it, especially with the Khal Drogo one.
Yep. And I read somewhere, have you seen the fact that when she plays them out of order? Like, she doesn't go click, 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 click. She plays them out of order, but apparently that's the order that the movies are getting released. So I thought it was a nice little touch. If that is what happened.
Yeah, sure, why not?
I never chronologicalized it or anything, but I'm assuming that's what happened.
Good word.
Chronologicalized. Yeah. So he makes the weapons. Superman goes a walking.
Yeah.
People seem to have beef with this as well.
I didn't really like the scene with Kevin Costner.
Were you not big on it?
No.
I loved it. I thought it was pretty cool. It was very Silence of the Lambsy, to be fair.
Yeah.
The horses.
Horses. And his hero cake.
His hero cake.
I didn't need that in there.
That is Zack Snyder at his best.
Yeah.
Hero cake.
Honestly, I didn't need that in there. I didn't need that scene in there. I mean, I didn't need Clark to be going all pissy and walky again either.
It does feel a little bit... I don't want to use the word forced, because I keep hearing people using the word forced, and I don't think anything in this movie was forced. But it does feel like they just put that in there, like, Snyder was sat there at a table writing God knows what, and he came up with that and thought, "Oh, that's cool," and put that in there because visually it's pretty nice.
I've read that there were a few scenes like that in the movie that he thought about it during filming. Like, wouldn't it be cool if we put this scene in?
Sometimes that's not the worst thing, though. It's not often the best thing, but sometimes it's not the worst.
I didn't need the Kevin Costner scene in there. I don't really know what it lent to the story.
I think it was just to tell him to keep fighting, keep doing what you're doing.
But you know, we've had Clark sort of struggling with who he is in the first movie.
He struggles a whole bunch in this movie.
He makes his choice at the end of the first movie, right? I'm Superman.
Yeah.
So I know that everybody's against him and the Batman's trying to kill him and all that kind of thing. But it's like, well, okay, do you need to go travelling again? That annoyed me. I didn't need that in there.
Well, we're not on the same page there, so... Because I like that little scene. It was nice to see Kevin Costner again. It was nice to see him... The horses. I thought it was nice. And I love the fact that it was the Lang, or the Lane... Lang?
Lane.
It was their farm that got flooded instead. As they ate hero cake.
Lana Lang.
While this is all going on, Lex has found the ship. He's got himself in there. He's taken Zod into the Genesis chamber, and he's decided that he's going to do something that Kryptonians aren't allowed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where we're going to...
We'll get to that in a second. And Jeremy Irons, we get a quick scene with him and Ben Affleck, as I remember it, basically telling Ben Affleck to stop being a tool. He's not our enemy kind of thing. I love this little scene. Jeremy Irons all the way through the movie is kind of just like the conscience of the movie.
There is a line in there where Bruce Wayne goes to him, if there's even a 1% chance that he's our enemy, we have to take that as an absolute. I love that line.
You know how those stories coming out that Ben Affleck wasn't entirely happy with the script and that he was rewriting bits and pieces here and there on set? That to me screams Ben Affleck. It screams the town.
Can't wait to see what he's going to do with this Batman movie. Cannot wait. Anyway, I love that line, but this is another point that I wanted to make with regards to sort of Batman, killing people and being brutal as fuck and stuff like that. Is that was one of the points that they made on the Angry Joe video that I mentioned earlier on.
Yep.
Is there is a comic book arc. It's in the comic books, just for people who are wondering. It's when Jason Todd is killed. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's the same group, because there's so many different fucking versions of the novels, all that kind of thing. So I'm not sure which universe or whatever it's in. But after Jason Todd is killed, Bruce Wayne basically goes, "I'm never letting this happen again." So that kind of ties in with that. After being Batman for however many years, he's lost Jason Todd. He's presumably lost others in his fights and all that kind of thing.
There is a scene earlier on where I've got a quote written down, and I'm going to ask you at the end. Ties in with that. Very much ties in with that.
And that ties into the ha ha ha, the joke's on you, Batman. So he's been beaten up, and he's lost people, and he's lost fights, and he's lost battles, and he's had people fucking fuck him over, and he's just kind of gone, no more.
Nice.
I'm not taking this shit anymore.
Pissed off?
I'm not taking risks anymore. We're going to go Rick Grimes territory
Rick
here.
Grimes.
I'm not taking risks anymore, and if somebody comes at me, I'm going to fucking have them.
Aye. Which is what he's doing.
That's the Batman that we want. What the fuck is wrong with that?
And that's the Batman we're getting in this movie. Very much so. We have a couple of throwaway scenes where Martha Kent gets kidnapped, and that brings us up to a story in a little bit. We have a scene where Lois is trying to convince Superman not to go and all this, and then basically he ends up on the helipad. It all kind of gets to this point where Lex is on the helipad, he gets Lois up there, throws Lois off the building, Superman turns up because Lois has got a tracking device in her somewhere, and 2 minutes ago he was up in the Himalayas.
From the bath earlier on.
Probably. What else are you going to do in the bath? Put tracking probes up each other?
Super spunk.
So it all culminates in the fact that Lex wants Superman to go and kill the Batman. But the Batman's already set up his booby traps. Like these booby traps?
Oh, yes.
I mean, let's be honest. This pretty much... after the monologuing with Lex, which I just love that whole scene. A lot of people have got a problem with this scene. He acts a bit wacky, a bit zany, a bit mental. Newsflash, that's what he fucking is. He's a lunatic. He's a scary-ass lunatic. He's a sociopath. So get over it. People have beef. The fight, Batman versus Superman. What was it? Day versus night. You know, that whole fight is awesome.
Yes, it is.
Every piece of it.
Yes.
I absolutely loved it. No problems with it. Superman comes down.
I couldn't take my eye off the screen. It was
insane. Like, it was fantastic. And I never once, for 1 second, like, I knew he was crafting the spear and I knew he was making weapons, but to use, like, a gas canister on him, like, it didn't even occur to me that would be a thing. And it does weaken him, and he gets the better of him. But I fucking love that bit when it's wearing off as he's punching out with Superman.
Yep.
And then he realises that his punches aren't working, and he's like, oh, hang on. Hang on a minute. He just starts backing off.
It did kind of, the scene in Ultron.
Yeah.
Where he's like, go to sleep.
Aye.
I'm sorry. I'm not saying it was a rip-off, right? I'm not saying that.
No.
It had the same kind of effect on me as that.
Screams,
I was like, that's so fucking cool. You're right, mate. That whole fucking, what was it, 20, 30 minutes or so?
The fight was only maybe about 15 minutes.
Was it really?
Aye, it wasn't that long.
Hopefully we'll get more in the R-rated version. But that whole sequence, that whole set piece was superb.
And then that brings you up to the part where Batman is about to throw a spear into Superman.
Yes. And
he says,
Martha!
Now, me personally, I sat there and went, holy shit, both their mums are called Martha.
Yeah. Now, that's we're going to cover a few points here, I feel. That's the first point, is that no one seems to have picked up on this before.
Never?
That both of their mothers... I never fucking realised that.
Because she's always been Marquand, and his mum's always been dead, so...
Well, yeah.
but
I never picked up on that.
It never once occurred to me. I was sat there going, whoa, mind blown!
What I did not need, when Lois Lane went, it's his mother!
You didn't need that.
I didn't need... No, Lois Lane saying that is fine. What I didn't need is to have been treated like a fucking idiot and have a flashback to a fucking... I didn't need that. Stop treating your fucking audience like they're morons.
Yeah, okay.
We've only been in here 2 hours. It's not 3 days or fucking 2 weeks. I've not got the Alzheimer's. Stop treating me like I've got the Alzheimer's.
Personally didn't bother me.
I'm going to get Alzheimer's now.
Personally didn't bother me. I mean, if you're going to show me that scene again, I'm going to watch it, so...
That was a niggle there. It was just a niggle. It didn't piss me off. I just don't like being treated like an idiot.
This has been probably the biggest point. I know I've said a few other scenes have been the biggest point, but this has been the biggest thing. Like, there are memes all over the place. People are really taking the piss out of this. What's your stance on the Sons of Martha?
Right. Here's the...
Because I have a theory.
I had no issue with it. I actually had no issue with it. And I'll tell you for why. Batman has been, the whole movie and previous to the movie starting, from the events in Metropolis, the Battle of Metropolis, Batman has been viewing Superman as a monster, as an alien, as an alien being a god, a bad guy, a wrong'un. He's not of this earth. He doesn't belong here. Why are you on my planet?
Yep.
Why are you destroying buildings on my planet? Why are you killing thousands of people in Metropolis? You're not human. Why the fuck are you here? And then all of a sudden, he's a human man.
He's humanized.
He's grown up on Earth. He's got a mother with the same name as his mother. He becomes human. And that's where the fight stops. Would they have become besties right there and then?
Yeah, they kind of do become besties there and then.
No, they wouldn't have become besties right there and then. I'll give them that. But that's what I took from the fight.
Yep.
That's why I took it that the fight stopped, is that all of a sudden he's become humanized.
Yeah.
Boom!
That's pretty much exactly how I took it, and I took it for the fact that I thought there was maybe like a little bit of a play on Clark, Superman. I thought maybe he was using that, because by this point, his mask is half fucked. Like, the Batman's mask is half fucked. So at this point, Superman can see that it's Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne, the most famous person in the world. So Superman's going to know that his mum was called Martha.
I just kind of thought, because he flew there. He didn't fly there to kill Batman.
No.
He flew there to convince Batman to help him save his mum.
Yeah, and I think that's why he used the whole Martha.
I don't know about that. I kind of picked up, the way I read it anyway, is that he was beaten. He was done. He was
done,
dead.
aye.
He was a dead man. He was
So
about
it's
to
like,
get,
save my mom.
He was about to get fucking speared. Batman was about to kill him, and so he kind of made one last ditch plea to save his mother, which is like, to the Batman, you have to save my mum because I can't.
Do you not
done.
also think that that's because he knew that would work?
Perhaps,
his mum was called Martha. You can see that it's Bruce Wayne at this point. You can clearly see. So we kind of get that. We get the Sons of Martha team up and they become best mates. Batman goes off and fights and does an awesome fight.
Oh yes,
straight out of the raid. Rescues Martha, both their mums at this point.
He does say the line, "I'm friends with your son."
That did.
It's a little bit of a push.
That was maybe the point that I can agree with everyone, because I did kind of sit there and go, "Oh, fuck off, come on!" and then she comes back with an even worse line. I could tell by the cape, "Fuck off." But the fight is awesome. And then they go back and there's the whole big fight with Doomsday. I'm not going to go panel for panel on Doomsday.
No.
They all come together. They all fight. What were your overall thoughts on Doomsday?
I didn't like Doomsday.
You hated Doomsday.
This is where the movie lost me.
No.
I was fucking loving the movie, absolutely loving the movie up until then. They rushed Doomsday.
Okay.
Doomsday shouldn't have been in that movie. They rushed Doomsday. This is where we differ on this, I think. And I said to you earlier on, you know, when we maybe go to the cinema to rewatch it, or when it comes out on Blu-ray or whatever.
Yep.
When I rewatch the movie, because I have to say, every time I watch Man of Steel, I enjoy it more and more. I love Man of Steel, so I've got the feeling that when I go back to rewatch this movie, I think probably Doomsday will annoy me less and less.
Hopefully.
But from the experience in the cinema, seeing it in the cinema, I hated Doomsday. There was no need for him to be in that movie.
So they kill Doomsday. Well, we assume they've killed Doomsday.
Well, yeah, that was the other thing. Again, I said this to you when we left the cinema, the whole battle just kind of, it seemed like a boss fight in a video game.
Yeah, definitely.
It was like 2 punches and then he does his big explodey thing. 2 punches, another bigger explodey thing. 3 punches and then a even bigger explodey thing. Then he grows a fucking horn.
He does grow a horn, and that scene gave me the horn. Wonder Woman has the lasso of truth wrapped around him, which I didn't think we were going to see in this movie.
That was cool.
If I'm completely
Cool,
honest,
yeah.
I was kind of blown away by it. Batman hits him with a crypto gas. He's got one more crypto gas, fires that off, and Superman flies into him, Turbo Kid style, on the unicorn bike, straight through the chest.
It was a little bit Turbo Kiddy, wasn't it?
And then Doomsday stabs Superman in the heart.
Yeah.
Which I had no inclination, I had no thought. I didn't think I know it's a Doomsday storyline. I know Doomsday killed Superman, but I couldn't believe they went there.
See, that's the thing. I mean, I remember saying to you after the first trailer came out, is if you put Doomsday in there, you've got to kill Superman. That is the story.
You did.
That's
you
the
did,
Superman story.
And I thought there's no way they're going to do it first movie out the gate.
It's a fucking ballsy ass move, is what it is. You know, I didn't like Doomsday, but it's a fucking ballsy ass move.
It is.
But having said that, it's less surprising than fucking is Jon Snow dead or not.
Okay, so that's pretty much like the film. We get the tale of two funerals. We get Clark Kent's funeral, which is like Batman's there, Wonder Woman's there, Lois is there. We get Superman's funeral, which has fucking bagpipes.
Well, so does the one in fucking Texas.
Yeah, fuck off.
I did kind of think, why Kansas? Sorry. Oh,
Kansas.
Oh, the Americans are kicking off now.
Fuck me.
Oh, shit.
Put your emails away. Put your emails away. Stop writing. Stop writing.
Yeah. Why is there a bagpipe player in Kansas?
I don't know about the Kansas thing, but I wondered why the fuck Superman had one. He's an alien, for fuck's sake. Do they have bagpipes on Krypton? But then we get a cool little scene where Batman's all like telling Wonder Woman, we'll have to get the gang back together. There's trouble coming. She's like, how do you know? He's like, I've got a feeling. And then it cuts to Ben Affleck and Batman intimidating the fuck out of Lex. Lex kind of holding his own though.
Yeah, I was happy with that scene.
I love that scene, and I love when he's kind of like ding 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 ding. The red capes are coming. Could have done with a bit of that. Yeah. And then we get the biggest fucking cock tease ever.
The Earth. I didn't need that either.
That left me with blue balls, if I'm completely honest. If I'm completely honest, it left me with blue balls.
I didn't need that either, to be honest. As I said, it's sort of the least kind of will it, won't it thing since Jon Snow. And of course he's fucking coming back. It's Superman and it's the Justice League. Will they keep him out for all of Justice League Part 1? I would actually...
I think he's probably going to be the one that's fighting in Justice League Part 1.
Now, that was another thing. There's a theory that if it's Darkseid, is that they're going to bring Superman back from the dead and he's going to be a wrong'un.
I'd be okay with that. I'd be totally okay with that.
And that was Batman's dream, where he's all red-eyed and he pulls his hat off and all that kind of stuff. I'm actually okay with that. Give Henry Cavill something else to do. Henry Cavill's a fucking talented actor.
Definitely. I totally agree. So that's the movie. I know you all enjoyed it. I've seen the reviews. You're all fucking loving it. 85%, 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. So, I know you're loving it. What would you rate it? Out of 10?
I'm giving it 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
It would have been higher if it wasn't for Doomsday.
You said that in the car. Personally, I'm still giving it a hard 9. And it gives me a hard 9. And I love the movie. I cannot wait to see it on Blu-ray. I want to go back to the cinema.
You know what? That's another thing. Is that I came out of the movie saying I want to see this again.
Yep.
I can't wait to see this again, and that's a good sign.
Before we move on to the last section, because WrestleMania starts in like 15 minutes, but before we move on, there's a quote in the movie when Alfred's talking to Batman, and he's basically trying to talk him down from going out and killing everyone and doing the Batman thing. And there's a line in the movie that fucking hit me when I was in the cinema, and I didn't like it, because my biggest fear going forward is the Suicide Squad. Something that came out, those rumours ages ago, and I didn't like the rumours, and I don't... Right, I need to ask you, do you think they're going to go here? There's a scene in the movie where he's on about how many bad guys to take down and all this, and Batman turns around to Alfred and basically says, how many good guys are left? And then he says, how many stayed that way? Is Jared Leto playing Jason Todd, do you think? I'm dead against this. I don't want to see it. I want Jared Leto to be the Joker and just the Joker. But that line in Batman vs. Superman hit me in the balls, and I didn't like it because I don't want him to be fucking Jason Todd.
I mean, what's wrong with having another Joker? But at the same time...
It screams it. At
the same time, do something different.
It would be different. It would be different. I just don't fucking want to see it.
I spoke earlier on about, it's Batman's at the stage where he's like, I'm not giving a fuck anymore. If anybody comes at me, I'm having them. If it was the case that Jason Todd kind of turned into the Joker somehow, and he was
and they showed this
terrorising Batman and taunting Batman and sending him, the joke's on you.
Exactly.
Then that would send the guy over the edge.
Exactly, and I don't like it. But I just wanted to ask you the question. It seems like that might be where they're going for Suicide Squad, and I don't like that idea at all.
Hey there, kids. Do you want to hear a show where a bunch of guys sit around in a comic book store and talk about comics and lifestyle choices, other goofy things and shenanigans they get up to? Then
when have we ever talked about comics? Usually it's people sitting on my lap and riding the struggle bus.
That's true. It's mostly shenanigans. But occasionally we talk about comics. And if you like any of those things, comics, shenanigans, Devin's lap, then you need to check out Snake Oil Comics with me, Travis, and my beautiful co-host, Big Dev.
Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and snakeoilcomics.com.
WrestleMania starts in like 10 minutes. I'm getting a bit excited, actually.
I've been excited all day.
I think this belt is going to be mine.
No, it's not. It's not.
For another 30 odd days. So, how do you want to do this? You want to do your WrestleMania predictions? I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Right. So Kev's going to be defending his title tonight.
Yay!
For the first time, the 365Flicks title has been defended. So the way we're going to do it is we're each going to do our predictions for the matches, and whoever gets the most right is the champion.
Yeah. Simples. We don't like to do anything convoluted. And
No, never that. So we'll do it just sort of quickly, very, very quickly, because we've only got 10 minutes, match by match.
Yep.
Let me see if I've still got the bloody
And
thing saved.
after each match, as we watch them, we will maybe get back on and have a little crack. Just to kind of say who.
Yeah, we will. We'll do it. We'll maybe not do it before each match, but after each match, we'll do a cheeky rundown and we'll talk about what we thought.
So come on then, big boy. What's your predictions,
So,
brethren?
the first one that we'll talk about, we don't know what order they're going to be on or anything like that. We'll just do it one by one. First one that we're going to do is Jericho versus AJ Styles.
Oh man, I actually haven't picked one. I'm going to have to do this on the fly.
Fuck's sake.
It's the one I didn't pick.
Unprofessional.
Chris Jericho.
I said AJ Styles.
Aye, well done you.
So
I think there's definitely going to be a winner this time. It's not going to be like maybe winner.
So you said Y2J, and I said AJ
Just so you
Styles.
know, I literally picked the people that I want to win. I mean, you've got like a bit more insider knowledge on this. I picked the people that I want to win as opposed to the ones that I think will win.
Fair enough.
So which means I'm going to lose.
So the next one is it's a tag match. It's not for the title anymore. It's a handicap match. It's the New Day versus the League of Nations.
What's the handicap? Like,
It's 4 versus 3.
not for the title.
No,
I'm changing my pick. League of Nations.
League of Nations. Wow.
Yeah, not for the title. It has to be League of Nations.
I said New Day.
I said New Day to start with, but if it's not for the title,
Huh. Okay. Intercontinental Championship.
No.
So it's an Intercontinental Championship ladder match. You've got Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Stardust, The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, Zack Schneider, Zack Ryder, and Sin Cara.
now I told you before, I flipped a coin on this. I took away the ones that I didn't think were going to win, and I was left with 4.
Uh-huh.
So I put them in pairs, and I flipped a coin on each pair. So I lost Kevin Owens in the first coin flip, and I ended up with Dolph Ziggler.
Ziggler, wow. I've said Owens retains. Ziggler could be up there.
It's most likely going to be Owens.
Women's title. I'm not calling it Divas Championship because fuck that. Women's title match. You've got a triple threat: Charlotte versus Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks. I've said Sasha Banks.
I went Becky Lynch because I don't know who Sasha Banks is, and I don't want Charlotte to win
Okay.
because I hate it when she goes woo.
Yeah, it's fucking irritating.
Who's Becky Lynch?
She's the Irish one with the red hair.
Oh, cool, Irish. I'll go that.
So then you've got Hell in a Cell.
Here comes the money.
So Undertaker versus Shane O'Mac. I am saying Shane O'Mac all the way on this one.
Obviously.
So we're both saying Shane O'Mac.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money. It's my winning theme song. How can I not pick him?
Yeah, I need to decide mine. Then you've got Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar.
Ambrose.
Street fight.
Ambrose.
I've said Brock Lesnar.
Oh, you batch. You total batch. Why would you go fucking Lesnar?
Because
over
I
Ambrose?
think Ambrose will put up a fucking good fight. But
Of course he will.
It's Brock Lesnar. I've got this shit. Then you've got the fucking world title, which there's no way in hell Roman Reigns isn't winning that. So
I picked Trips. Honestly, right, here's my reasoning, right? I know they're trying to push him, and I know they're trying to make him the face. But fuck me, they must realise the fans don't want him to be the champion. They must. So I think they're not gonna let him win, and I think Trips is gonna win, and then they'll give it to Ambrose.
they're going to give it to Ambrose.
No, they won't give it to him, but Ambrose will win it, or somebody else will win it, but not Reigns. I don't think they can, because there'll be fucking riots. There'll be Daryl riots.
There's no way he's not going out of there. as the
Trips,
champion.
I'm telling you,
I've
fucking
written
Trips.
it down. I've written it down.
That's going to be the winner for me, Trips. We're going to be fucking even Stevens, and then Trips is going to win it.
So there we go. So that's our predictions.
That's our predictions.
And we're going to watch it right now because we've only got 6 minutes to go.
Right now! And we might jump in and out and let you know how the whole thing's going, which will be a bastard to edit, but there you go.
Well, you're a master editor, so.
I'm getting there. So, yeah! Cool.